Hi, everyone, and welcome to the E'Claire Makery Podcast. I am your host, Claire Goodale, and I am the maker, designer, and all-around crocheter of the crochet blog E'Claire Makery. I am so excited about today's episode because this is the first in my series where I am having well-known crochet designers that you know and love come on my podcast so that they can share all of their tips and tricks and just advice on how to make it as a maker. I know it is so hard to know how to do that, and so I am so excited that I have been able to bring makers that we know from Instagram and other social media places so that you guys can learn from them and help rock your crochet business. So today is my very first episode of that, and I have Anna from the Knotty Boss as my very first guest, and we are going to be talking about overthinking as a maker because that is something that we all struggle with, and also tying that into how we compare ourselves to other makers and how that affects us in our designing and stuff. So with that said, let's go ahead and give her a call and get this episode started. I'm so excited to have you on here. You're my very first interview, and I am so glad
this is my first interview, period.
It's perfect then. It's our first time. So, how about you just introduce yourself to everyone? Just tell us, what your Instagram is and what your business is, just to sum it up really quickly.
So, my name is Anna. I am the maker behind the Knotty Boss. Instagram handle, the Knotty Boss.
Yeah. You just say you're the Knotty Boss.
That's I personally don't even really know how to define it myself. Currently, I'm amigurumi for the most part, and then trying to just do a little bit of everything. I sell my items ready to make or made to order. And yeah, I don't know. That's about it. I've only been crocheting for 2 years, so I always feel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I always feel like a newbie.
Okay.
So I never.
If you're a newbie, you were rocking it.
Yeah, I just fell into it. I have been knitting for a really long time, or at least know how to knit. Okay. But every couple of years, I would pick up my needles and make a scarf or something, and it would always be her. And I would always drop a stitch, and I would always have to start over. And then
Same.
It was one of those things that you know how to do it, but I don't know, you don't love it. And then I was just trying to make something for my desk, like a plant, because I kill plants notoriously, and just started looking up ways of making it DIY and seeing what I had at home as far as craft supplies, and I had yarn, and then I found all these crochet cacti tutorials. Let's try crochet.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Yeah, and then that was it. And I made a couple just for fun, and then a few people asked for me to make them some, and then that was basically how it started. I never expected. It was never anything planned. It was only supposed to be a craft hobby that I would probably have for a few months, like everything else that I try for a couple of months and then just completely abandoned.
Story of my life.
Yeah. Well, I tried calligraphy and sewing and everything. Yeah. And then I've
done that too. I have basically almost learned every fiber art that I possibly can. I just love yarn and working with things, so I just am that involves yarn. Okay, I'll learn how to do it. But I tried weaving, and I only did one little wall tapestry because I thought they were so pretty, and I loved doing it. It was so easy, but I haven't picked up any more weaving stuff at all. And I even got a free loom, but I'm just
I've been try it because I keep seeing people make such wonderful things, and I have a couple of weeks from awesome artists. I'm well, yarn, weaving, it just seems to go hand in hand.
Exactly.
I cannot start another hobby.
Yeah. My husband, he has to stop me from wanting to do stuff. I'm oh wow, that looks so pretty. That looks so fun. I think I could do that. I should totally do that. I'm like looking at all the Cricut like Explorer makers, those like cutout.
When we
I
started, I have a story.
Oh, you do? Okay, I want to hear it.
I do love like paper crafts, and because I spend a lot of time, in front of a computer for my real job, I guess you call it.
Oh yeah, what is your real job, by the way?
Graphic designer. So which helps with, all the stuff that I do, but
it totally makes sense because all of your photos look so like they're just so clean and like well designed. I'm like, she's gotta do something with art or some sort of designing thing.
So I feel like that's another part of why I like keeping the Insta page and doing all that. It's almost like I get to do a little bit of a design, but it's designed for myself, where, it's always for somebody else. And even if I make something that I like, somebody else can just make edits or changes, and it's never going to be 100%, where nobody can tell me what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is mine.
Like, then I can't make a decision, and then I just don't do anything. But
yeah. Well, that kind of segues into like what we really wanted to like focus on today, and of just like overthinking as a maker is such a real struggle. I think everyone can relate to it, because I like, even with us with our Instagram feeds, it's like if one like little thing is out of place, we're like, oh, this is gonna ruin everything, and the algorithm's gonna hate me, and my life is ruined.
Exactly.
And
details that probably don't matter in the grand scheme of things, that nobody will notice, but you get hung up on them because you think it's important.
Yeah. What have been some ways that you have felt like you've really struggled with overthinking?
Oh, well, overthinking is something I do when it comes to any aspect of my life. It's
Me too.
It's just dealing with design, or, creating a piece or project. What really helps me keep myself on track is just time. I know that I can go back and forth between decision making, but if I set myself a specific time limit, or I know this needs to be done at this time on this day, I can change my times. But when it gets, too close to that deadline, then I have to like make the decision. And that's what I feel like that's when my best decision making happens. A little bit under pressure. I'm never the type of person able to finish something early, because if I finish something early, I will look at it and then I'll say, what? Maybe if I try to do it another way.
Yes.
See what happens. I have time.
Yeah.
I can always go back.
Yeah. Like I was looking at other people's stuff, or I was looking at things that people were like, oh, this is so amazing, but I was like, I think I could use a little tweak or something. And like, because with my designs, I overanalyze stuff, and I totally do that with my designs too. I like look at it and I'm like, no, this just isn't gonna work. And
I also think I think it's like natural for makers to do that, because it's something you're looking, even if you have an idea that you think is so fresh and new and you're really excited to execute it, after a while that you spent working on it, it doesn't feel new and fresh anymore, and you're almost like get sick of it. And that's at least for me, I feel like I have to think of other ways to change it, or now this feels different. What should I do to add it, when really it didn't need anything to begin with. I was on the right track. That was my original plan. But because I've been looking at it for so long, I'm like, you almost like want to excite yourself, but forget that it's not that easy to do.
Yeah, and like I've been looking at a lot of stuff on Pinterest, trying to figure out like, okay, what are things that people are wanting and like want people to make, and all of the stuff that is like viral on Pinterest or viral on Instagram, it's all like super simple designs that are quick and easy, and like I've seen that's really what people want, but I feel like as makers, we just complicate it so much and are like, I have to use this like complicated stitch, and then that is going to make it like above all the rest. Like with my like plushie designs, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to use this complicated stitch, and that's going to set me above the rest. But then I haven't been able to really like figure out the right way to write my ice cream cone pattern because it's too complicated. And
That's
so
with my Frida, I've been trying to write a pattern for her for as long as I've been making her.
yeah. Yeah, how did you get started making those? Because I love seeing those and they always turn out perfect. At least that's how it appears to me.
The Frida one of my friends, she just had an idea. She loved Frida, and she just asked, did you ever consider making a Frida one? I think the first one I ever made that had faces had the sombrero, and I think
nice.
the monocle. And so I thought, well, Frida, that works because she has such a, the unibrow. You could put a unibrow on anything and it'll look like Frida, really.
Yeah, exactly. And some flowers, put a unibrow and some flowers.
I kind of just like winged it because I had no idea how to, like, what I was doing. And I didn't write anything down, and I kind of just, and I really, like, I was really happy with the way it came out. And then I got a couple of more requests, and I could never replicate the original design again because A, I didn't have it anymore to even just look at it, and B, I never bothered because I never assumed anybody would want another one. I just thought I was just making kind of like one-off thing.
Yeah, I know. I've done that too. I think that also plays into the overthinking things, is we are like, okay, I'm really into this right now. I've got to do this. And then we forget to write things down and we're like,
you don't want to pause yourself. I feel like if I pause, I get distracted, and then I'll start something else. I'll start writing it down, then I'll doodle, and then I'll look up something on my phone, and then 2 hours later, I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't done anything.
Exactly. And we're like, oh, okay, I'm confident. I'm gonna totally remember this. And no, that's not how our brains work.
Even hours later, I'd be like, no, I don't need to write this down. Yeah, it never. But I agree with you, overcomplicate, because you see all these things that seem simple, and you think, well, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing because what's the point? There's already plenty of resources available. So then you try to do something different, and then
yeah, exactly. And we're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be so unique, and then that's gonna be the thing that sets me apart. And like with my Winter Dreams beanie, I was like, you know what? I'm seeing like all the people that are getting a ton of followers, they make beanies, and like sometimes the photos aren't like up to the standard that I would want, but they get like so many likes, and like people want beanies. And then I was amazed, like that was my highest liked photo, was that the first one of my beanie, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's what people want, is they want simple beanies and simple things.
Yes, if it's somebody who's going to purchase a pattern, probably not somebody who's very advanced, otherwise they probably would just be able to do it themselves. And then if it's somebody not advanced, they're going to want something easy. So it does make sense.
It does make sense.
But I can't, when it comes to all, even your other patterns that are not like wearable, maybe, the purses, and those you can't make those simple. You can't, because that's what makes them so unique. Those touches. Same thing with my cacti. Somebody was saying, oh, can you make something with only like 3 colors or like limited amount of yarn? And that's what makes my stuff, I guess, a little different from others, is that I do all this other like resources and yarn and everything in different colors. Otherwise, I don't think I could make it work. For me personally.
Yeah, I know. Like with my ice cream cone like redo patterns that I did, when I like put different eyes on them than what I normally do with the felt, I was like, this isn't me. I don't know how to do this anymore. And I was so insecure about it, but like people like them and it's cool. And Steven was like, oh no, it's fine. It's totally good. But I was like, oh, this isn't me. I'm horrible. I'm like the worst designer ever.
You can, even something that you make, you can look at and you can say, it doesn't feel like me. Or like, it's like, oh, I'm not.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. Like something's off. Even though I made it, it should feel like me regardless. But I have that all the time. And sometimes I have a friend, I call her my design eye. She's like a hired, but not really hired help. Whenever I have to, I'm dwelling on a decision, or if I have any trying to decide between this picture that has something a little bit to the left or this one that you basically can't even tell the difference. I have to explain to her like what the difference is. She'll help me decide if I spend too much time.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Sometimes I realize I spend 20 minutes trying to pick between two pictures. I could post another one later on. Why am I
Exactly. Oh,
being productive, but I'm not.
Yeah. I think that that's something that we overthink too is our photography. Like, I know, like, on a lot of my different photos, like, all of those ones, when people do the aerial shots of, like, themselves, and it's like, do you know that took me 2 hours to do this photo?
It would take me a day. It takes me hours, just like the flat lay where everything looks messy. I have dozens. If you look at if I just showed you like my phone, my camera roll, it's just like dozens of the same photo where I move something slightly little over. And then I probably, majority of the time, end up using one of the first photos I shot in that series. So 2 hours later, it doesn't matter. All that work is for nothing. And, sorry, I'm like all
No.
I also get weird about posting the same like photos from like the same photo shoot more than once. So I spend hours taking these pictures, and then I'll edit a few of them even, and then I'll just use one, and then that's it.
So true. I know. I'm like, I spend so much time.
Who wants to see this again? My hand like, and this is not that exciting.
Yeah, I know. I was scrolling through my camera feed because my phone told me that I had too many photos because they take so many photos during a photo shoot. And
your phone just because of that.
Yeah, and so I was like scrolling through it, and I had like 20 photos from like one little like section, and I take my photos on my camera and then I airdrop them to myself after uploading them onto my computer, and then I edit them on my phone because I'm complicated like that. And
works.
Yeah, and I was just like looking through it and I was like, oh my goodness, I have so many, like most of my storage was multiple images of just like I'll like take one of my like designs and I'll like move it like slightly to the right or I'm like, okay, I think I need to, or like I'll try it with, I love the fairy lights. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and get it in this. No, the lights don't show up. It just looks like a black string. I can't do this. So, yeah.
It's constant. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you obsess over these little things, and then you can't make decisions. That's why I have somebody who I just send. I'm like, just make a decision for me. I don't even care because I feel like somebody looking at it with a fresh eye and without all that baggage that we have looking at that image because oh, my nail polish is a little chipped. Oh, like crazy things. I'm like, oh, there's that shadow. It's a little too intense. And because I have the resources to also make a lot of edits and adjustments, and I spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like I waste a lot of time too, because it's these decisions that aren't helping me, but they're just driving me insane.
Yeah, and like you as a graphic designer, like that's your job is to like make things look perfect design-wise. So like you've been trained to do that. So
I can't not.
Yeah, exactly.
Something, and then a day later you realize, oh, that's not the one I wanted to upload. That one has the mistake. I can't delete it now that it has likes and engagement.
Yeah.
Can't do anything.
I know, like my snowflake sugar cookie ornament, I had two photos that I was debating between. I was like, okay, should I do one where it's hanging on the tree, or should I do the one where I took it of like with 4 others that like it looks really cute and like, oh, look at all those cookies. And I went with the one that was on the tree, and I didn't get as many likes as some of my other photos, and I was like, ah, darn it, I even knew it. I even knew to post the other one.
It's such like a mind F sometimes.
Yeah, we're just like, why?
I'm glad that I'm not the only one. Like, I'm glad that this is not uncommon.
Oh yeah, no, you're definitely not alone.
Yeah, everybody just has similar experiences and similar thoughts, and
yeah.
a little bit better.
Yeah, it's like the blessing and the curse of being a maker is that you are overcritical of your stuff, which can make it amazing, but it also causes a lot of stress sometimes.
A lot of stress, yes.
Oh, yeah, I know. I wish I had. I think the only people that I really have around me right now in my life that I can ask about, oh, like, does this look good or should I do this, are like people on Instagram because, like, I bless Steven's heart. He tries, like, but I'll ask him and he's like, I can't. I don't even I can't even tell the difference. I'm sorry. Which one do you like better? And I'm like, "No, I'm asking you because I want you to tell me. I can't make a decision." And then he's like, "How about you go with that one?" Okay, cool. I'll do that. Okay. And
Oh,
he got I think he called one of my designs. I think he said my cowl pattern was, what did he say? It was a wrap. And I was like, "No. It's not." Like he hears me throwing out all this lingo, and so he's like picking up on a lot of it, but then he also gets confused, and then I he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it." So he's good to have to because sometimes I just need to talk out my thoughts.
you know the difference between crocheting and knitting?
Oh my goodness. Okay, he does know,
Okay, good.
but sometimes it will slip and he'll be like, "Yeah, Claire was knitting." And I'm like, "Mm-mm, no, I was crocheting." And he's like, "I'm sorry, I know you knit too, so I just get confused."
Do you knit? What's the ratio usually, or is it 50-50, or do you
Um,
crochet?
well, okay, so I learned how to crochet when I was 7, and then I learned how to knit shortly after that. And then because I'm like you and I like to like throw myself all into a craft, I would like pick one or the other and focus on that for maybe a year or so. So I haven't knit because I just started picking up crocheting again this year after stopping doing it for like 3 or 4 years. So I haven't knit in a while, but I'm so obsessed with everyone's knits that I know that I need to start knitting again because
Once I
yeah.
figured out crocheting and I thought I had the hang of it, like I knew what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was doing. I decided, oh, no more knitting. But now that I see all these beautiful like makes with knitting, I just get so jealous. Plus, knitting takes less yarn,
It does.
and it's quicker. And when
Yeah.
it comes to like wearable things, I feel knitting just there's a different. I mean, I do love crocheting,
Yeah, yeah.
but like knits, especially when it comes to sweaters, there's just a different.
It creates a different fabric. It's just very different. I know. I used to when I was I think when I was 13 and I like got a crochet design like wearable garment book or something. I even overthought with that of, oh, if I take the time to make one of these, it doesn't look as good as knitting. So what's the point in even making it? But now there are so many amazing like crochet garment designers when
I never assumed like things could look that nice.
yeah.
I thought it was just for doilies.
Yeah, I know. I like when I came back on like getting involved in doing this and because I like started getting into cross stitching and then I went on Instagram and tried to find cross stitch designers, which then led to me. I think I found like TL Yarn Crafts and the Hook Nook and and I found you too. And I was like, I need to do this. Yeah, because I loved your stuff. I was like, I gotta do this. I need to get into doing this again. And I was like, wow, crochet has changed so much.
I know. It's not for like old grandmas that just is not matronly and if it is, it's on purpose.
Yeah,
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 I never knew you could make all this stuff, like all these little toys and things.
yeah,
I did not realize that was
yeah.
even a world of. Like I said, once I found crocheted cacti and I started looking on Pinterest, and
Uh-huh.
that was it. And this is
Yeah.
I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah, I know. It's nice is that like now that I've jumped back into crochet because I've done it for so long. I'm like, oh, okay, I can pick this up really easily, and I was surprised that I remembered how to do amigurumi, but like it wasn't even much of a transition. I was like, oh, I just know what to do. Like my brain was like, I remember how to do this. Um, but it's so cool getting to see people's stuff, and I love it.
The counting was what threw me off at first, and I'm so OCD when it comes to things. Even if I'm off by one stitch, like even now I know that it won't even make a big difference, even if my count's off by one. But I will still go back and I will like take it apart until everything is. And I can count in sixes like nobody's business.
Yeah, oh, I know, me too.
I never thought that would be like multiplied times six table would come so handy in my life.
Oh, I know. I get people, they ask me all the time, like, they know that I crochet and they know that I do this, but then they're like, they know that I'm a crochet designer, but they'll always ask me too, like, oh, wait, that's your own design? And I'm like, yeah, I did this. And they're like, how do you even know how to do that? And I'm like, trust me, once you know how to do it, your brain just automatically is like, okay, on this row, I need a single crochet two, and then do an increase, and then do this and this all the way around to create this shape.
Because it's like with anything, like working with clay, if you add more clay to one side, it will be bigger. So and that's exactly when people ask, oh, how do you do this? It seems so difficult, but to me, it doesn't seem difficult.
Yeah, to me either.
It's just like with any other trade that people are really good at something that takes skill and practice. And I feel like with crocheting, it's not. It's just especially the technical part of it.
Yeah.
It's a skill, something that you can train and acquire over time, and it's not that difficult.
Yeah, and I think like I've seen people overthinking like starting to learn how to knit or crochet. Like they think, oh, this is something that I could never do. I don't have the patience for. But I always just tell people like, no, like if you just practice it and you learn it, like once you know it, then you know it. And
it's like riding a bike, you know it forever.
Yeah.
You need like a quick refresher and then you know exactly what to do. And
yeah.
It's so relaxing and it's portable.
It's so bring it everywhere. And you get to take a ball of yarn and you get to make it into whatever you want. It's so cool. I love it.
It's weird because like I said, I've tried all these different crafts and I never, even with my regular work, with my design work, I never posted any of it online. I just kept it my professional life with my professional life, and then whatever I did hobby art that stayed not public. But with this, once my friends kind of started encouraging, just start a page and start posting, and I'm terrible at posting on regularly. I'm horrible at writing captions. I hate that part for me just drives me nuts. I can sit there for trying to think of something clever to say that is not clever. And I look at all these people that just have conversations with their audience, and it seems so natural, and they just have this ability to do this. And
I know, I overthink captions.
I'm not good with words.
Yeah, I overthink captions all the time. I love to write, but I am like, because I think in my head, like, okay, what do people want to, do I do like a salesy post, or do I do like, okay, I want to talk with you guys, and like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jenna Kutcher and the Gold Digger podcast at all. You should totally check it out. She has got like amazing business tips, but she always encourages like business women, like, just share who you are and share like your story, because people want to feel like you're their best friend, and once they feel like you're their best friend, then they want to connect with you and they want to buy from you because they trust you. And so
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does because I'm like, oh yeah, I do that with like all the people I follow on Instagram. I feel like they're my friends, and a lot of them are. Yeah.
No, I'm the same way. I am bad at like marketing myself almost. I don't like to I don't know if that's gonna sound like sell myself, and I don't mean sell myself, but like salesy post and just because I feel like I don't really have any inventory. I make things to order, and I want to make patterns and I want to sell patterns, but again, that's once I get past this, that will happen. So,
and I wanted to say that you're like, it totally makes sense now that you're a graphic designer, because when you like had your first, like, I think when you put on your story a while ago, like, oh, I'm designing my first pattern, and I was like, how can I do that? Like, it was so like graphically amazing. I was just like,
that's what I overthink. Instead of just making a normal pattern and posting, because I have all the content, I have all the pictures shot, I have everything written down. But instead of making it simple, I decided, well, no, I get to do this other. It's like another job almost, you know.
I loved it. You did an awesome job, though. You did a great job.
Finish it then in that one day.
Yeah.
But that's I don't even know where I was going with this. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I lose my train of thought all the time. And I think part of that is because I overthink everything. And then my brain's like, I'm done.
You have like 100 things rolling in your head because you're trying to like things are saying like different ideas and
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. The amount of times that Steven has to tell me stop because I am like, oh, like with the Cricut thing, I was like, oh, I'll start designing mugs and t-shirts and maybe I'll do like some sort of stitch markers or something like this. And he's like, do you have time? I was like, no, but I can make it. I could somehow magically make the day longer.
All these like dream things that I want to do. And I tell myself, as soon as I get through these projects, I'm going to have to do it. I'll have time to do it. But then by the time you get through projects, these ideas aren't exciting anymore. You'll think of other stuff. And it's always going to be.
Something that I've learned in a lot of my research on Instagram and business stuff is they're saying like, you know, and that's even a positive of overthinking of like you overthink so much that everything looks nice and like, yeah, you know, you want to show authentic stuff, but you're also a business, so you want to create a brand around what you're doing. So you want to put that effort into your stuff so that you can create something that people are going to recognize. Like if I see one of your photos, I instantly know that it's you. Like you've done it. You've done a good job with that.
I'm such a sucker for consistency. Like I like consistency. I like doing things the same time.
Yeah.
There's people who will like take a photo, you know, once a month at the same place, or you know, puts things together in like a collage of consistency. That's what I think.
Yeah. So I think like having a brand and having that like consistent look is something that is really important, and that
I'm still a little fish compared to, because that's another thing I always compare myself to everybody else. Not in a bad like, but I'm always like, what am I doing wrong? And sometimes and this is just like speaking honestly, definitely people who maybe even joined after me or around the same time, where I feel like they're having so much more success. And that's only, and when I say success, that's just like in numbers that I see. You don't know, what people are really, what really is going on, and you know, but I sometimes I feel like, what am I doing? What am I not doing? What am I? And I don't know. So I'm trying to be a little bit more active also on Instagram. I've been a little bit more social, I guess it is. I get connected with other makers and a handful of people that we just DM each other, but actually, you know, having meaningful conversations. And
that's one reason why I wanted to do this podcast, was because I feel like I compare myself all the time to people. Like I compare myself to people who have like 10,000 followers who've been doing it for like 2 or 3 years, and I'm like, I haven't even been doing it. Like my business hasn't been going for even like, I think it's only been like 3 months, but I've had my Instagram for like 6 months maybe. So and I got featured on the Hook Nook blog and the Crochetpreneur.
First time I ever saw you was on the Hook Nook blog.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm like, I think that some people, I know I myself always compare myself, so that I think that I'm not good enough because I'm not at this point that I like, oh, they're so much better than me because they're at this point. But I think like I really want to have like us makers come together and share like, no, I've actually started exactly where you were, and like it took a lot of hard work, and like I'm a normal person that
Yeah.
has all the same struggles.
And then even when you reach, because I think of people who, have X amount of followers, if they have like in tens of thousands or even 100,000s, I think of them as these like celebrity,
Yes.
non-human, where they just exist in like this craft world but they're just like us. They also work on the
Exactly.
couch, and just because they have that many, because I mean, back in the day, I thought people with 5,000 followers were these big people walking around, friggin' making it rain with all the stuff.
I used to think that on my
Like,
personal Instagram.
you're gonna live in a mansion. I'm gonna live in a yarn mansion if I had 5,000 followers or five.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I uh I was just like, oh wow, so much has happened in such a short amount of time, and a lot of it was one because I overthought it, and two because I just decided I'm gonna go for it. Why not? Like I've been wanting to do this since I was 13, but I never like had the opportunity until now. And a lot of it was my husband pushing me. He was just like, Steven was like, you're really good at this. You should go for it. Like people are gonna like your stuff. And now I post way more on my business Instagram, and even in my stories I share more about my personal life. So my friends and family now follow my business account so that
take a
they
glimpse of your life.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
thing. I neglect all my personal accounts. I'm like, in my Instagram, my Knotty Boss is the only one that matters.
I get emails like every other day from Instagram for my personal, and they're like, "You've missed this from your friends," and like, actually not, because I've seen it on my other account.
Yeah. Like, you haven't been on in a while. We're gonna delete your account.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, I even have friends where they're like, "Oh man, I'm so obsessed with like your account, and I just like check it all the time, and like, when I go on Instagram, I'm like, what's Claire doing?"
Awesome.
And I'm like, oh, thank
So
you.
satisfying in a way to like, I don't know. It's a nice feeling. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
when people respond positively to something that you put so much of yourself into. I know it
Oh
sounds
yeah.
people like, oh, I put my heart and soul. Maybe it's not my heart and soul, but I definitely put an effort. I definitely try.
And I think that's one reason why like getting criticism for your makes is can be so hard, because you're like, I put a little part of me in this when I design this. This is part of my mind almost. And so you're saying like I'm not worth it. And it's like, no, it's okay. Like that's what makes it unique, and what makes it you is that it has part of you in it. And I love that that's part of what we do.
Yeah. Not everybody's gonna like what you do, but as long as you find
Yeah.
your little like niche of people,
Yeah.
niche, whatever.
I think
Uh,
it's niche.
as long
Uh,
as you find your peoples that like your stuff,
your peeps.
that's like I said, it's art subjective. Some people like A, some people like B.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
just, as long as I don't know. I overthink because people will say, "Oh, I like your stuff," and then I think, "Well, I want to make this, but it doesn't look like something that you're
Mm,
seeing from me. Should I do it? Should I not?" Like, I also don't want to be that person that just like is known only for one thing. That's why I've been trying to.
yeah. Is that how you felt with like your cactus hat design?
Yes, I didn't want to just be the cat. Like everybody considers me the person that makes the cacti, but
Uh-huh.
I want to make other stuff.
Oh,
Like,
I know.
yes,
Same. I know. I'm like, I thought I was gonna only want to do amigurumi. I was like, that's just gonna be what I'm gonna do. And then now I have fallen in love with making garments and stuff. And I'm like, I I'm sorry, people. I'm gonna have to do this. I need to start designing clothes.
do you find that like garment making is a little bit easier?
I think
That
that I think in some ways it's more forgiving, because I feel like with amigurumi, if you do one thing wrong, like if you do one stitch wrong, it messes it up sometimes.
Yeah, because
like
it's
on the face.
You can definitely there's no room for error.
Yeah, like I feel like you have to almost be a perfectionist with amigurumi sometimes, because you have to be like, okay, I need to get the eyes on this exact stitch and do this. And so I've found with like
spiral, like when you crochet in a spiral, it took me forever to realize, like, in person they look fine, but when I take a picture of my amigurumi and I look at it as a photo, one eye's here and one eye is there,
and you're like,
this is what it's good. Is this what really it looks like?
yeah.
So then I had to figure out how to.
Yeah. I know, like with eyes and mouths, I think are something that is really like it. Like sometimes I'll do a mouth and I'm like, oh, I can't. I just no.
It's not you, and like that feeling, like we were talking about earlier, that you see something and you almost know it doesn't look quite right. It's just something. It happens. I've made last time I made Mickey cacti, and
I loved those. Those were so cute.
The first one I made, or the first try attempt, and I thought that was it. Like it was finished. I was ready to make a second one just like that. I was ready to send it out, and then I just kept coming back and looking at it, and something wasn't 100%. Like it looked almost frightening, and I finally sent it to my friend, and I said, "Be honest," and she's really honest with me. And I'm like, "Is it a little creepy?" And she said, "A little." And I expect her to say a little. For some reason, I expected her to be like, "No, it's not." And as soon as she said a little, it really bothered me, because she's right. Like, I know she's not being a dick about it. She's being honest. I need to listen to, and I changed it, and it was the best decision I made. It looked way better. And comparing the two, I'll have to send you the picture after
Yeah, you should.
It was, I don't know if do you know the movie I think it's called The Mask with Cher, and she has that son that like has a weird face. I don't know much about the movie, but it looked like that. It was scary, and I can't believe I considered sending that to somebody as like their order.
I have definitely had that with like my pumpkin spice latte. The first time that I made that little keychain, it ended up becoming a pincushion while I was making my candies, because it was so scary looking. Like it just, like his mouth, like I decided to use like black yarn so it was thick, and then I tried to do little sunglasses, and so I tried to take the face out to redo it, and then when I tried to redo it, it ruined it even more, so I just gave up and started again.
Sometimes you just have to. Sometimes I change things so much that it like disturbs the yarn or whatever.
Yeah.
There's no bringing it back. Then you have to.
It's true.
But I feel like if you're not 100% on board with, if you don't think it's right, I feel like you should redo it personally, because then you can I feel like then you'd be proud. But I don't know. I think maybe some people will say, whatever you make, just put it out there. Who cares if maybe you don't think it's your best work, but
yeah.
I don't know what the right answer is.
I honestly, I think like as the makers, a lot of times we know what we like to do, and that's what makes us that's what makes our style is because we do things a certain way. So if we don't like it, like you don't need to put it out there to let people know that you made it.
Right, you're right.
But sometimes too,
I don't like your name attached to that thing.
Yeah, but sometimes I think too, like if we are like too critical, then sometimes we might miss out on something that is really awesome. Like even like, okay, so with my Christmas light garland that I did, that was a very last minute design and people loved it. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Sometimes just like making it and not thinking too much about it actually works.
That's true. You just do it. That's what was that? I think, wasn't that like the motto for Facebook Zuckerberg? It was one of those things where it's like you do it now and then you like apologize for it later.
Yeah.
Break things and then you just fix them later, because if you're gonna do something if you're going to wait to do something until you think it's 100% perfect, you might never actually get to the end or actually do it, because you'll overthink it, overplan it, and never get anywhere.
Exactly. And then like you'll never get to those opportunities and realizing your dreams until like it just stays there and sits there and nothing ever happens. I think that's something too of like people overthink that so much that leads to fear, so that a lot of people don't try to go for it with their dreams. I'm like, I should have done this a long time ago with the same time. Like, I don't think I would have had the confidence to ask you, like, hey, do you want to want me to talk with you and interview you? Like, I wouldn't have had the confidence to apply for anything or do any of that. And now I'm like, you know what? I want to do this because one reason why I'm doing this is because I have chronic health issues. And so, like, it might not seem like I do, but a lot of times I have like stomach pain or nerve issues. And so doing this makes me happy and it actually works for my body. And so I'm like, I got to make this work because this is what I love and what I want to do. So
people always say, oh, especially once you make it, they're like, you just have to like follow through and just do what you love.
Mhm.
And that's what everybody keeps saying, so that's what I'm going to keep doing.
Exactly.
Get some work done.
Yeah. And thank you so much for coming on the show. It was so much fun having you on here, and I can't wait to keep. We should totally do this again because it would be really fun.
If it doesn't even have to be official, if you just want to.
Oh yeah, let's totally talk.
We could set up a time to talk and like discuss things that we're.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
Okay, good.
Okay. Well, I will talk to you later then. Bye. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my chat with Anna. I know it was so nice for me to be able to talk with someone who understands all of the things that I overthink about with my designing and with my business, and it's just comforting knowing that you're not alone. So know that whenever you overthink something, whether it's your Instagram account or it's how you design a product that you want to put out there, just know that you are not alone, and all of us makers go through that. I am so excited for next week's episode where you're going to have Lee from Coco Crochet Lee on, and we will be talking about how to get signed on with yarn companies and how to start working with yarn magazines as well. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure to follow along so you don't miss that episode, because it is amazing and you do not want to miss it. And also, what came from my partnership with Anna through interviewing her is we are releasing new market tags so that you guys can rock your market season this year and just help you guys with your branding of your business. That was something that we mentioned a little bit in the video, and since Anna is a graphic designer, she gave me some tips on how to make some products. So we are presenting those to you guys today, and you can check that out in my blog post in the description below. And I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye! Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like it below if you enjoyed watching it, and hit the subscribe button if you never want to miss out a video from me. And also check out my other videos and tutorials on my channel. See you next time!